If you're eating, enjoy your meal. I wish you a good day, that everything goes well, and enjoy the video. Get comfortable and pay attention to this story.
All right, let's talk about a true icon, an artist whose voice, even decades later, feels just as powerful as it did the day he dropped his first track. We are, of course, talking about the one, the only, the notorious B.I.G.
So this number you're looking at, 24. It's kind of the key to his whole story. I mean, that's how old Christopher Wallace was when he died. Just think about that for a second. 24 years. It's just an impossibly short amount of time, right?
And that really sets up the big question we're going to tackle here. How on earth did one guy in just 24 years manage to completely change the game forever? I mean, how is that even possible? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the start. So, a Brooklyn beginning, the making of Christopher Wallace. Yeah, before he was Biggie, he was just a kid from Brooklyn. Let's get into his story.
So here are the basics. He was born in Brooklyn, the only kid of Jamaican immigrants. His dad took off when he was just 2, so it was all on his mom, Valletta, to raise him. And she was a rock, worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet. They lived in Clinton Hill, right there on the edge of Bed-Stuy. And trust me, that neighborhood, it wasn't just where he lived, it was the ink in his pen. It shaped everything about him and his music. Now, here's the thing that kind of flips the script on the whole street kid narrative. Given everything about his environment, you might be surprised to hear this, but the guy was an honor student. Yeah, not just street smart. He was genuinely book smart. And get this, his best subject was English. Makes sense, right? That skill with words, that would become the absolute foundation for his legendary flow.
The hustle and the flow. A young life at a crossroads. Yeah, this is where things get complicated. As he got older, his life started pulling him in 2 totally different directions. He was literally standing at a crossroads, and both paths were calling his name. I mean, just look at this. It lays out the 2 worlds he was living in perfectly. On one hand, you've got the student. He's excelling in English, going to school with guys who would become Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes. Can you even imagine that? But on the other side, you've got the hustler. Started selling drugs when he was just 12 years old. Dropped out of high school at 16. This wasn't some simple good kid, bad kid thing. It was a direct result of the insane pressure cooker of his world. And, well, that hustler path, it led exactly where you'd expect. To some serious trouble. This timeline, it's pretty stark. It just escalates, 89, he's arrested on weapons charges. Next year, he violates probation. And then the big one, in 91, arrested for trafficking crack cocaine. That got him 9 months in prison. At this point, it really looked like one of those doors was about to slam shut for good.
Ready to Die's debut, the birth of an icon. But sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can bounce back. And that prison sentence, that was his rock bottom. Because what happened next? Well, this is when everything changed. This is where Christopher Wallace starts to become the notorious B.I.G.
So what made his sound so different? You really have to look at what he was listening to. It was this incredible mix of stuff. From his mom's records, he got all that soul and funk, Stevie Wonder, Parliament Funkadelic. From his family's roots, he soaked up Jamaican reggae. And of course, being a kid in New York, he grew up on the pioneers of hip-hop, like Run DMC and LL Cool J. He took all of that, threw it in a blender, and came out with a sound that nobody had ever heard before.
So how does a guy go from prison to a record deal? Well, it's a chain of events that's almost like a movie. First, right after getting out, he makes this raw demo tape. He calls it Microphone Murderer. That tape somehow gets into the hands of the legendary DJ, Mr. C. Mr. C plays it for the folks at the Source magazine, and boom, he gets a feature in their super influential unsigned hype section. And guess who read that column? A young, hungry producer you might have heard of, Sean Puffy Combs. Puffy heard it and signed him on the spot. Just like that.
And that partnership between Biggie and Puffy, it led to this. September 13th, 1994, Ready to Die hits the streets. And let me tell you, this was not just another album release. This was a seismic event. This was the day hip-hop changed forever.
The impact was, seismic is the only word for it. You have to remember, at the time, the West Coast was running everything. They dominated the charts, the radio, everything. And then Ready to Die drops and single-handedly brings the crown back to the East Coast. What made it so revolutionary was how he rapped. He had this incredible, smooth, almost conversational flow. But underneath it, the lyrics were just insanely complex. He was painting these vivid, gritty, cinematic pictures with his words. Listening to that album felt like you were watching a movie.
Rivalry at the top, the King of New York. So, with success like that, a title was inevitable. The streets, the radio, the clubs, they unofficially crowned him the King of New York. But as they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And being the King of New York put him smack dab in the middle of that infamous and increasingly ugly East Coast-West Coast beef. Suddenly, he was the face of the East Coast, whether he wanted to be or not. He became this figurehead in a war that was being fanned into a wildfire by the media.
Man, the pressure was coming at him from everywhere. He's trying to build up his own crew, Junior Mafia. At the same time, he gets tangled up in this super personal, super public feud with Tupac, who used to be his friend. That whole thing exploded after Tupac got shot in New York in '94, and he went on record blaming Biggie for it. And on top of all that drama, he's still fighting legal battles and somehow trying to find the time and space to record his second album. It was a lot.
Life after death's legacy, an end and a beginning. And this is where we get to the final and most tragic part of the story. It's a moment that's just defined by this awful paradox, a devastating end, but also a monumental beginning.
Just look at this timeline. It's absolutely chilling how fast it all happened. March 8th, 1997, he's in LA, attending a party after the Soul Train Awards. The very next day, in the early hours of March 9th, he's shot and killed. And then, just 16 days later, his masterpiece, a double album, with the hauntingly prophetic title Life After Death, is released to the world.
In the reaction, it was just immediate, overwhelming. The album debuted at #1, right at the top of the charts. It was this bittersweet moment, you know? A huge celebration of his incredible talent, but also just a reflection of this profound sense of loss that everybody was feeling.
And this, right here, really sums it all up. His work cemented him as one of the greats. I mean, think about it. With just 2 official albums, his incredible storytelling, that one-of-a-kind flow, he secured his legacy forever. Life After Death was the proof that he was still evolving. It was this massive double album where he could drop pop smashes like Mo Money, Mo Problems, but still keep that raw lyrical genius that made him famous. He is, and I don't think this is up for debate, one of the greatest to ever touch a mic.
So, we end up right back where we started, with the number 24. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What's the true measure of a legacy? Is it about how much time you have, or is it about what you manage to do with that time? When it comes to the notorious B.I.G., I think the answer is pretty clear.